Welcome, brave souls, to a journey into the darkest corners of the night. Tonight we have a spine-tingling treat for you, 5 terrifying true night drive horror stories that will send shivers down your spine and leave you questioning the boundaries of reality. But before we dive into these chilling tales, we invite you to find a place that's dark and calm, away from the distractions of the world. Dim the lights, settle into your favorite chair, and prepare to be immersed in a world where the ordinary meets the supernatural. And here's a friendly reminder. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our bone-chilling stories. Now, let the nightmares begin. Story 1. The Haunting of Dead Man's Curve. On a moonless night in the heart of Texas, Michael was driving along a desolate stretch of road known as Dead Man's Curve. The winding path was infamous for its treacherous twists and turns, but it was also known for something far more sinister, a ghostly hitchhiker. As he approached the curve, Michael saw a figure in his rearview mirror, a woman in a tattered white dress, her face obscured by long jet-black hair. Panic surged through him as he realized she was hitchhiking. He had heard the legends, but he couldn't leave her stranded on this dangerous road. With trembling hands, he pulled over and reluctantly let her in. She climbed into the back seat, her presence casting an icy chill over the car. Her voice was barely audible as she directed him to an old, decrepit mansion at the end of the road. As they reached the mansion, Michael's heart raced. The place exuded an otherworldly malevolence, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. The ghostly woman turned to him, her eyes hollow and soulless, and whispered, "This is where I died." Before Michael could react, a bone-chilling wail filled the car, and the woman's face contorted into a grotesque mask of horror. Desperate to escape, he slammed on the gas pedal and sped away from the mansion. As he glanced in the rearview mirror, the woman's ghostly form vanished into thin air. But the horrors were far from over. As he approached Dead Man's Curve, the car's engine sputtered and died. In the darkness, he saw the ghostly woman standing on the road ahead, her hair writhing like serpents. With a final desperate scream, she lunged at the car. Michael awoke in his car drenched in sweat, parked safely on the side of the road. It had all been a nightmare, or so he thought. As he drove away from Dead Man's Curve, he couldn't shake the feeling that the ghostly hitchhiker's curse had followed him, leaving him forever haunted by the horrors of that night. Story 2. The Whispering Pines, a night drive to madness. In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, there existed a winding road known as Pine Hollow, flanked by towering pine trees that seemed to whisper secrets in the wind. It was a road rarely traveled after dark, for it was said to be cursed. One fateful night, Emily, an adventurous soul, decided to test the legends. She set out on a journey down Pine Hollow, the moon casting an eerie glow through the thick canopy of trees. As she drove deeper into the forest, an unnatural silence descended, broken only by the unsettling whispering of the pines. Suddenly, the car's headlights illuminated a shadowy figure standing in the middle of the road, a spectral man in tattered clothing, his face obscured by darkness. Emily's heart raced, but she couldn't bring herself to stop. As she passed the figure, she heard a haunting voice, soft and malevolent, whispering, "You should not have come." Ignoring the warning, Emily pressed on, determined to reach the end of Pine Hollow, but the forest seemed to stretch on endlessly, the trees closing in around her, their whispers growing louder and more sinister. Panic set in as she realized she was trapped in a nightmarish maze. Hours turned into days, and Emily's mind began to unravel. The pines whispered secrets of unspeakable horrors, and their voices echoed in her ears. She couldn't escape the forest's grip, and she couldn't silence the maddening whispers that filled her every thought. In a final desperate act, Emily abandoned her car and fled into the forest, driven to madness by the relentless whispers of the pines. Her fate remained a mystery, for those who ventured into Pine Hollow after dark never returned. Story 3. The Bridge to Nowhere. In the remote backcountry of West Virginia, there was a bridge known as the Bridge to Nowhere. It spanned a chasm so deep that the bottom was lost in perpetual darkness, and it was said to be a place of unspeakable horrors. One summer night, a group of friends decided to test the legend. They piled into a car and set out for the Bridge to Nowhere, their laughter masking their unease. As they approached the bridge, the air grew heavy and an unnatural fog rolled in. The car's headlights revealed the looming silhouette of the bridge, its rusted metal structure seemingly defying the laws of physics. As they crossed the bridge, an eerie sensation washed over them, as if they were crossing into another world. Suddenly, the car's engine stalled and the headlights flickered and died. Panic set in as the friends realized they were stranded on the Bridge to Nowhere, surrounded by impenetrable darkness. Their flashlights revealed nothing but the void below. As they huddled in the car, the bridge seemed to come alive, its metal creaking and groaning as if in agony. Unearthly whispers filled the air, voices of the damned echoing from the depths below. The friends knew they were not alone on the bridge. In the pitch-black darkness, they felt cold, clammy hands reaching out from the void, grabbing at them with a malevolent force. Desperate to escape, they abandoned the car and ran blindly into the forest, their screams drowned out by the haunting whispers of the Bridge to Nowhere. Only one of them made it out alive. Story 4. The Curse of the Abandoned Asylum. In a forgotten corner of upstate New York, there stood an abandoned asylum shrouded in a thick blanket of mist. Its decaying walls and broken windows told tales of a dark and tragic past, and the locals knew better than to approach it after sunset. But curiosity got the best of Jenna, a fearless thrill-seeker. One moonless night, Jenna decided to explore the asylum grounds. She parked her car by the roadside and cautiously made her way toward the imposing structure. As she approached the entrance, a bone-chilling wind seemed to emanate from the building itself, warning her to turn back. Ignoring the ominous signs, Jenna stepped inside the asylum's crumbling corridors, her flashlight piercing the darkness. The air was heavy with the weight of forgotten memories, and the walls seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. As she ventured deeper into the asylum, Jenna began to hear faint whispers, disembodied voices that echoed through the empty halls. Shadows danced at the edge of her vision, and the temperature plummeted, leaving her breath visible in the frigid air. In a forgotten room, Jenna found a dusty stack of patient records. The stories of despair and torment within those pages sent shivers down her spine. But it was when she stumbled upon a faded photograph of a nurse from decades past that her world unraveled. The ghostly figure of the nurse materialized before her, her eyes filled with sorrow and rage. She pointed an accusing finger at Jenna, her voice a chilling wail as she proclaimed, "You should never have come here." Jenna fled from the asylum, her heart pounding, but the nurse's vengeful spirit pursued her. The night seemed endless as Jenna raced through the mist-shrouded woods, the relentless whispers of the asylum's tormented souls echoing in her ears. The curse of the abandoned asylum had claimed another victim. Story 5. The Phantom Truck of Route 66. Route 66, the iconic American highway, was known for its long, empty stretches and ghostly tales. Among the legends, one stood out, the Phantom Truck. It was said to be an old, rusted big rig that roamed the highway, its driver seeking vengeance on those who dared to cross its path. David, a trucker himself, had heard the stories, but dismissed them as tall tales. That is until one fateful night when he found himself driving along Route 66, miles from the nearest town. The road was deserted, and the only sound was the hum of his engine. Suddenly, David saw the distant headlights of an approaching truck, swaying erratically as if driven by a madman. Panic set in as he realized the truck was heading straight for him. He swerved to avoid a collision, his heart pounding, but the Phantom Truck matched his every move. As the two trucks raced side by side, David caught a glimpse of the driver, a spectral figure with hollow eyes and a twisted grin. The air grew frigid, and David's radio crackled with eerie laughter. He knew he was in the grip of the Phantom Truck, and there was no escape. The ghostly trucker rammed David's rig, sending it careening off the road. David's world spun into chaos as his truck overturned, and he was left hanging upside down, trapped in the wreckage. He could hear the phantom truck circling back, its headlights closing in. In a desperate bid for survival, David crawled out of his mangled truck and fled into the darkness, his body battered and bruised. He ran for miles, haunted by the malevolent laughter that echoed behind him. The phantom truck of Route 66 had spared his life, but the encounter left him forever scarred, a testament to the horrors that lurked on the open road.